The first time I stepped into the Aurelian Opera House, I thought I'd entered a cathedral designed for ghosts. The place had been closed for nearly 70 years, its marble stairs veiled beneath tarps and dust, its chandeliers crusted with forgotten light. Yet now, after months of obsessive restoration, it stood immaculate once more. Every velvet seat brushed, every gilt molding reborn in gold leaf. Still, something in its grandeur resisted revival. Beauty, it seemed, could not drown memory. My role as the new custodian was simple enough: oversee the building's maintenance until the cultural committee decided how to use it. But I took the position for a different reason. I had been born not far from here, and my father, a tenor once renowned in provincial circles, had performed his final aria beneath this very ceiling before vanishing from the stage and from my life. Some say he lost his mind mid-performance, others that he heard something no one else could. When I entered that stage for the first time, I could not shake the sense that I was trespassing upon a lingering echo of him. The air smelled faintly of old wood polish and forgotten perfumes, a sweetness turned stale by time. Each step I took seemed to disturb an invisible layer of dust that did not exist, as though the past were still trying to settle upon me. I remember running my hand along the mahogany balustrade that lined the upper balcony. The smoothness was deceptive, too perfect, as if a craftsman had sanded away the fingerprints of everyone who had ever leaned there.
Below me lay the main hall, a sea of red velvet and silence. That silence was dense, not the kind that soothes, but one that presses against the eardrums until your own breathing feels like an intrusion. I found myself pausing often just to listen, though to what, I could not say. Each night I made my rounds, checking the wiring, ensuring the old mechanisms worked, the trapdoor, the curtains, the faint hum of electricity through the antique fixtures. I spoke aloud sometimes, perhaps to keep the emptiness from congealing around me. My voice never seemed to echo correctly. It returned slightly delayed, as if the air had to think about it first. It was on the third night that I noticed the first change. While standing center stage, I felt an almost imperceptible tremor, not of the ground, but of the air itself. The silence fractured. There came a faint, unsteady sound, not quite a whisper, not quite a draft. It was the sort of noise you might hear if you submerged your head in water and someone spoke from above. Muffled, fractured, foreign. I called out, "Who's there?" and immediately regretted it. My voice seemed swallowed whole, consumed by the building. The faint sound ceased, and the silence returned heavier than before, as if resentful at being disturbed. When I reported the odd acoustics to the committee the following morning, they dismissed it as structural resonance, the kind of anomaly that occurs in large spaces. Yet that explanation did nothing to ease the feeling that the silence was listening back.
By the fifth night, sleep had abandoned me entirely. I began keeping a journal, notes about the hours, the temperature, the peculiar moments when the faint whispering seemed to drift closer. At times it resembled language, though none I recognized. Other times it dissolved into rhythmic sighs, rising and falling as though synchronized with my own breathing. The strangest detail, one that I did not at first trust myself to record, was how the whisper occasionally mirrored my thoughts,
A question would form in my mind, and the sound would stutter, almost replying, almost finishing it. There were moments when I caught my reflection in the mirror of the dressing room and felt a strange detachment, as if the man gazing back at me were rehearsing the part of myself. I tried speaking to the reflection to break the illusion, but my lips lagged behind by a heartbeat. That single moment of delay left me cold. It was around midnight on the 7th day when the opera house revealed its truest self. I had fallen asleep in one of the boxes overlooking the stage, a ledger open beside me. When I woke, all the chandeliers were alight, though I had not turned them on. Their crystals swayed slightly, though the air was still. Down below, the crimson seats were occupied. Shapes, faintly human, sat motionless in every row, heads turned toward the stage. The whispering had become a chorus. I rose, trembling, and leaned over the balcony rail. The figures were indistinct, as though made of smoke that refused to dissipate. Their faces shimmered like wet paper. Then I realized the sound was not coming from the audience at all. It was coming from beneath the stage. I descended the stairs, the murmur swelling into a layered frenzy of half-syllables and gasps. The trap-door gaped open, revealing the undercroft, the labyrinth of machinery and dressing tunnels where actors once prepared. I hesitated, and in that pause a phrase formed clearly from the chaos, spoken in my father's voice. "You should not have come back." The words did not echo, they seeped into me. I crawled down into the undercroft, guided by the glow of the stage lights above. The tunnels were wet with condensation, walls breathing softly. As I moved deeper, the whisper multiplied, dozens of voices now, all murmuring fragments of something terrible and intimate. My thoughts began to slip, their edges fraying. My own name, when I tried to think it, felt foreign.
I reached the old sound chamber, a room built beneath the orchestra pit to enhance resonance. The air shimmered with vibration. There was something alive in the silence here, a density like liquid glass. And then the whisper stopped. The sudden quiet was unbearable, a void after too much noise. I could hear only the faint throb of my pulse, the brittle creak of the floor beneath me. I bent to examine a faint shimmer in the center of the room, a mirror, cracked and rimmed with dust. Within it, I saw myself standing on the stage above, but he was still moving when I was not. My reflection raised its hand, pressed a finger to its lips, and whispered words I could not hear. The chandelier above me shattered. I opened my mouth to scream, but the voice that came out wasn't mine. If this story made you feel the chill of something lurking just beyond perception, give it a like and share it with someone brave enough to listen. And don't forget to subscribe to Noxmoor Tales for more unsettling tales delivered straight to your ears. Until next time, remember, sometimes silence speaks louder than any scream.